Brad, I'm going to do a follow-up to my one video that I made where their Model X was on a flatbed. Answer a couple of questions that were in the comments, and kind of tell you how to not let your Tesla run out of energy and not let that happen to you. I've had my car for 4 years and never had the problem that guy had. So get this. Look like a bandit back there. I'll get the camera turned around. This here's the graph that Tesla puts for, I'm going to be heading to the supercharger here, and I'm at like 46% currently, and it's anticipating when I get there I'll have 5% left. So I'm going to, right now I'm got the cruise control set at 70. I'm going to just bump it up to 80. And I'll pause it here and we'll come back to this graph and we'll see how much it changes. Alright, we got a second without the sun in our eyes. I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought bumping it up to 80 mile an hour that this line here would start to drop down below 5%. But what this line is, it's anticipating how much energy you're going to have in the battery for every mile that you move across the bottom here. So like at 60 miles, it's anticipating we'll cross over to the 20%. That's where it goes yellow, and I think it's like 6% or whatever where it goes over to red, like, or maybe it's 7 or 8%. I mean, we're going downhill right now, and we're not using as much energy as it's assuming we would. But we're also only doing 68 mile an hour because we're behind semi trucks right now. So that's actually probably one reason why. So the slower you go, the more range you can get out of the car. So when we're sitting here, 81 miles away from our destination, we can be watching this graph and know that we're not going to make it to the end because weather conditions are different. You're running your heater, which I currently am not running my air conditioner or heater now. Turn the air conditioner on, and that could make this line drop too. So there's several different ways you can extend your range if you see there's a problem. Another thing that's just good to know is, I guess, if you have a Tesla and you're not sure how to do this, mine's an older Model X, and the current user interface, I just push this button down here, and that brings up the energy graph. I got to have a destination in mind for it to tell me, how much energy it thinks I'm going to have at the end. And it gets nervous on you too. If it thinks you're going to be below 3% or 4%, it'll come up at the top of the screen up here and tell you drive slower. Like it's not doing that right now because we're actually not consuming energy. Hopefully I don't put myself in a condition where I actually have trouble making it to the charger, because generally I try to get there with at least 5%, and that helps you not run into trouble too. We got traffic slowing us down again. I guess while I'm waiting for this to push below, get it back down to 2-3% because we're driving 80 mile an hour. I'm going to cover a couple other things. A lot of people are telling me, just do this to the 12 volt battery, just do that. The big problem was that, one, it wasn't my car, so I wasn't tearing into it, and I showed the owner basically what we need to do to get the 12 volt battery, and he didn't want us to do it. So on an older Model X, I think that one was a 2017. It's not easy to get to that 12 volt battery like it should be, and hopefully they've made changes in the newer models where that's not an issue. But I know I got another video on mine that I did have to top off my coolant level one time, so I took everything out of the trunk, and my 12 volt battery's been replaced once too. So I know it's difficult to get to. You got to take the whole frunk apart. There's a bunch of bolts holding the frunk in there, so that's the reason we weren't getting a 12 volt battery. And once you're once your 12 volt battery is completely dead, you can't open anything in the car. So even if there's a pull tab to release the charge cable from inside the trunk, but you can't get the hatchback open either on a 2017X. There's no keyholes where you can put a key in there and mechanically open it. So if that 12 volt battery is dead, you're dead in the water, which is kind of crazy. Probably something they should have thought a little bit different about, but as long as you keep a good 12 volt battery in there, which, I mean, if you own a Tesla and you get the warning that your 12 volt battery's not the strongest and needs replaced, probably something you want to do right away, because it will leave you stranded if it goes dead. Keep getting text messages. Anyway, there we drop back down to 5%. It's kind of surprised this ain't happening a little bit quicker. I'll go over one other thing while we're kind of waiting for this to drop off. Here you can check out your instantaneous consumption too if you want. And like over the last 30 miles here, it's saying I've used 297 watt hours per mile, and if I continue to use that much on average, I'll get 87 more miles of range. I can switch it down here. Over the last 15 miles, I got 290 miles of range, or 294 watt hours per mile, which is a little bit better energy efficiency, and my range bumps up just a little bit. If I go down over the last 5 miles, we've been going uphill more, which that's what happens right here, is you're going uphill. Here you're going downhill and actually going into the regenerative braking, where it's putting energy back in your batteries. So it tracks everything really well for you. And so if you know you're gonna be cutting it close, I mean, there's lots of things you can do to make sure you don't run out. And if you get down to zero, or and you still got 5 or 10 miles to go, just get the tow truck right away, because it's going to put you in a world of hurt when you run it all the way down to -5% and still don't make it. Like that guy, he ended up spending the night, I'm pretty sure, and had mobile service come out the next day. And unfortunately, Tesla service has gone downhill. The more cars they sell, the worse their service seems to get, which wasn't the best before. I'm actually kind of surprised here. I mean, typically what would be happening now, except I'm making a video so it's not working for me, is I got the air conditioner running, and we're still not using energy as fast as it anticipated, which is actually a good thing. Whatever the conditions might be better today than they are normally, and that's what's helping to get the good energy efficiency out of the car. Maybe we got a little bit more tailwind than we normally do, something like that. But again, I mean, as you're going through your trip, if you watch this graph, you'll know if the temperature's messing with it really bad, or a lot of times I'll be pulling a trailer or have a rack on the back of the car. The rack on the back of the car still hurts the energy efficiency a little bit, but not all that bad. But you'll just watch it. It'll consistently track below that line, because it's a pretty good estimate most of the time of what you're going to use. Anyways, yeah, I'm just going to keep driving fast at this point, because I think I'm going to have plenty of energy to make it the charger. But I'll monitor it as I'm on the trip, and if it starts dropping down here, anticipating 1-2%, I'll just slow down, and the car will even tell me to slow down. So why that guy ran out of energy, it's really probably his fault, and Tesla doesn't need to be blamed. Although once the cars get older, my friend Mike Young, his car went completely dead and still had 10% battery, around 10%. So now he doesn't even use the bottom end of his battery, which shortens his range by quite a bit. I think he had the experience with the 12 volt battery going dead on that trip too. So yeah, if you do run out of energy and you're stuck on the side of the road, slow down. Be careful with your flashers too, because that that'll be running down your 12-volt battery, and that'll leave you extra stranded. So, all right, well, hopefully this helps you understand a couple things that happen, and that and things you can do to avoid letting it happen. All right, there we go. It did drop down to 3%. I figure if I push it at these speeds, I'm going to drop below that line and use more energy than it says. So yeah, I'll probably slow down to 70, 75. That's usually what I do anyways. I most of the time I stay just a little bit above the line and come in with a little bit more than it anticipates. All right, well, I'm Brad. I'm out for now. If this helped you, please like and subscribe and help me grow this channel.